Marbury versus Madison case and talk about how that didn't just lead to the Dred Scott case, or even as we had just talked about, the Roe versus Wade case, but this also leads all the way up to U.S. versus Nixon, which this was the case where which led to Nixon's impeachment post the Watergate scandal, or as a result of the Watergate scandal, which again, just a little bit of context there. Originally, Watergate was not something that Nixon was a part of. And this was members of his campaign team or associated with his campaign team for his reelection to actually hide listening devices within the DNC's headquarters. And then how Nixon got roped into that was to cover it up, and that's what led to the Watergate scandal coming out. Oh my God, Nixon's in on spying of one of our own two parties, and then, didn't get impeached in the sense that he was actually forced down. He stepped down, he resigned, which I think is one of the biggest tragedies this country has seen. But I want to bring that up as he had some interesting thoughts that kind of tie back into today's political commentary around Israel. And before I do that, I also wanted to make a few more comments about the framing of the Constitution, as Charlie Kirk had brought up previously. I just thought this was interesting information that maybe not everyone has off the top of their head, or at least not, kind of current in what they're thinking about. With the writers of the Constitution, the first assembly was in 1785 at Mount Vernon, which will be there soon, to address the rights, the navigational rights of waterways between the early states of the Union. I think it was really just between Virginia and Maryland at that time. And then fast forward nearly a couple years later, it wasn't until May 14th of 1787 where there is the first constitutional convention. And due to no quorum, it was actually postponed 11 days. So literally the founding of our country didn't even get enough buy-in, where there was months and months and months in advance, representatives from each state that were committing to come up to this session, and then not enough people showed up to actually be able to start dictating what our Constitution would actually entail until 11 days later. It's like, hey, we're expecting all these people, and where are you all? And then 11 days later, May 25th, 1787, the first constitutional convention actually takes place. And then fast forward another few months, the first constitution actually was signed September 17th, which I just found out. Also, the day that I covered in our previous podcast, or at least previous solo podcast, was the date that the Star Spangled Banner lyrics were first published in the defense of Fort McHenry. So that poem. So I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit of history. But going back to Nixon.